Turn your camera around. This girl looks very, very young.
It's like 12.
In our second season of Our America, we investigated the trafficking of young girls, girls bought and sold on the streets of Washington, D.C.
There, that's a pimp. What's the tag number?
He's driving away fast.
And he just did a U-turn.
Go.
You're gonna get it right now when he passes you, right now.
We discovered a world in which girls as young as 10 years old, sometimes younger, are lured into the streets and kept there by force.
I know if there's one, there's got to be 1,000. If there's 1,000, there's got to be 1,000,000 that's just looking for young girls.
It happens to more than 100,000 girls right here in our own country. Girls like Ashley.
Closed legs don't get fed. If you want something, you better have sex. You better open your legs.
Now, a year after our first visit, we journey back to see what's changed on the streets of our nation's capital. So tonight, we bring you our original episode, 3 a.m. Girls, along with some emotional updates on the girls we met and the women who've dedicated their lives to saving them.
What probably all the neighbors didn't realize is there was a girl inside who was desperately in need of getting out.
America, it can be inspiring and beautiful. It can also be dark and ugly. It's so many things, but it's ours. It's our America. Washington, D.C., capital of the world's biggest superpower. By day, it's home to those who make the laws of our land. But by night, the law of the street takes over. I will learn that out here, women are bought and sold like slaves, and girls, young children, vanish. But for us, the story starts in a different world, one of big houses and pretty lawns, the suburbs of northern Maryland.
Good catch.
It's the last place Ashley thought she would end up. And at 19 years old, it's a wonder she's even alive. Is this the first bedroom you've ever had?
Yeah.
Ashley's adjusting to this new life, a foster child with a future and a very dark past. Ashley spent her early childhood in one of DC's poorest neighborhoods. When her mother died of cancer, she became an orphan. She was taken in by her cousin and grandmother, and a nightmare few of us could imagine began. When she was only 10 years old, her own cousin forced her to have sex with men for money.
She started saying, closed legs don't get fed. If you want something, you better have sex. You better open your legs. She started other girls like 12-year-old, 10, 8 years old.
You know your cousin was a pimp. She had you and she had all these other girls.
It's still hard to believe, because that's my cousin. I try to forgive her, but I can't.
On an average night, Ashley, how many men would there be?
I don't know, a lot.
Ashley says the men didn't care how old she was.
If you want to be grown, I'm going to treat you like grown. Age ain't nothing but a number.
She tells me she wanted to escape, but the only place she could imagine that was safe was jail. Ashley tried everything she could to get arrested, just so she'd have someplace away from the men.
When you locked up, you get to eat. You don't gotta worry about nothing. That's a bed to lay. That's no men, it's all girls. Like, I don't care about no freedom, as long as I'm safe.
So you called the police to take you to jail so that you could sleep and eat.
Mm-hmm.
When are you leaving?
Early, 8 o'clock or something like that.
If a jail cell could feel like a refuge, Ashley's new life is still like a strange dream.
If we leave at 8 o'clock, we should have enough time.
5 months ago, Joan and Chris, who learned about at-risk girls in their church, took Ashley in and made her part of their family.
My idea of foster care was people that took care of, infants waiting for an adoptive family. But they said the real need was for people to open their homes up to teenagers.
We're hoping the longer she's here, the more comfortable she gets with feeling secure. Probably not something she's ever had.
Ashley is safe in her new surroundings, but she almost didn't make it here. And I wonder how many others out there won't be so lucky. Ashley's first step to get off the streets was here, a place called Courtney's House, run by a courageous woman named Tina Front.
So Ashley, can you tell us what today's topic is?
Today is about getting out.
Transitioning out of the life.
Tina lets me sit in on a counseling session where today, girls as young as 12 talk about their experiences being bought and sold in DC's sex trade. What was so disturbing to me was that every one of these girls was forced to have sex with scores of grown men. For obvious reasons, we have to hide their identities.
If somebody tells you, if you put on that shirt and that skirt, you are so pretty, and you will help our family or help us make some money together, oh, man, I hope you choose to do that. Is that a choice?
No.
You said that you've been controlled?
Mm-hmm.
Who's controlling you?
I had a pimp, and what he said goes, and with like the Johns, what they said go. So I had no control over who I had sex with, the way we had sex, or anything.
How old were you?
I'm 16 now, and I started when I was 13.
Part of Tina's battle here is convincing these girls that what happened to them isn't their fault.
I didn't have no gun in my head. I didn't have to do it. I chose to do it.
What would happen if you didn't do it?
If I didn't do what I was told, I'd be beaten, you know. But it's nothing you can't get up from. You can always get up from a beating.
What are the ages of the youngest kids you've dealt with?
Boys are usually trafficked between the ages of 6 and 10.
And what about the girls?
The youngest girls we ever got, 11. What do you need help with? Let me sit and help you.
Courtney's House runs a hotline, gives medical referrals, and tries to do what almost no one else is doing: rescue kids from sexual slavery.
Y'all want to come in for a second?
To these girls, Tina could be their only voice.
A little girl who was 11 said, "Are you an angel?" Because I prayed every day an angel would come get me.
What was that like when she said that to you?
I don't see myself as an angel. I just see myself as trying to help somebody that nobody else helping.
Who are these girls? Some estimates say as many as 100,000 girls or more are trafficked in America from every state. The average girl entering the commercial sex trade is between 12 and 14 years old. Tonight, Tina's going to take me out to look for any of them she can find. So all of the girls that we're gonna see tonight are being controlled by a pimp.
All of them are being controlled by a pimp.
Tina keeps a book of missing children. It's a heartbreaking catalog of young lives that have become almost invisible.
Now this just looks like a normal girl who lives next door.
These faces are just so young. Baby faces. If Tina sees any of these girls on the streets tonight, she'll call the police. But it can be hard to find something that is, by design, hidden.
Sometimes they are found in other cities and states, and sometimes they're found dead, and sometimes they're never found.
As night falls, we head into the heart of downtown Washington, D.C., to the main area known for prostitution, just 6 short blocks from the White House. If anyone can find these girls, I have faith it's Tina, because Tina was once one of them. When Tina was 13, she met a man at a corner store. He offered her more than candy. He told her he wanted to take care of her. He wanted to be her boyfriend. His chance soon arrived.
I had an argument with my parents, so I told him I wanted to leave home. And ding, 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 he said he'll meet me in 15 minutes and don't take anything.
He drove Tina to another state and introduced her to 4 other young girls living in a house.
I started crying and I wanted to go home. He told me to go into a room and 2 men came in and raped me.
And then after that, what happened?
He told me all of it was my fault and that he didn't want to do it, but I made him do that because he did so much for me that I wasn't appreciative. So then I felt guilty.
It was a classic strategy. Pimps prey on vulnerable girls, lure them in with the promises of love and money, tell the girls they can call them daddy, and after they gain a girl's trust, the exploitation begins. Tina was lucky she got out, and now she wants to save others. Let's do this. We'd arranged access to an office building that looks down onto what's referred to as the main track. It's a dangerous place at night, unwelcoming to outsiders, and we are going to try and film it.
Lean forward just a little bit. That's gonna
Tina and I will wear hidden cameras, and we're joined by 2 bodyguards who will keep their distance.
Yeah, like that.
All right.
Go.
The rest of the team will film from windows and cars.
Perfect.
So I've seen a few girls, and then they just walk off and disappear, which leaves me to believe they're probably engaging in activity as we speak. It was nearly 3 a.m., and the action was heating up, and I was about to learn the rules of the street. I have my hat.
Good luck.
Okay, here we go. Our night's about to begin. Later in this special update, we rejoin Ashley on her remarkable journey from sex trafficking victim to advocate for young girls still caught in the life. Tina and I are entering a world with strict rules. The players out here call it the game.
Come on, walk down, walk down. We saw young girls out last week. Every time we go, we generally see young children that we have to alert the police to.
This strip of downtown DC, like other streets around the country where sex is sold, is called the Blade or Track. Tina tells me that tracks known to have very young girls are called kiddie tracks or runways, like models on a catwalk. Some girls were fairly easy to spot, wearing skimpy clothes or climbing in and out of random cars.
Here we go.
Here's one. But there's a lot more going on here than first meets the eye. There are invisible threads of power and control, and the girls have none of it.
Hey, homie, what y'all? Y'all ain't down with the game, do you? The supposed to be on the street on the other side, homie.
Okay, y'all. Y'all gonna have to get on the street, on the street, on the street.
Tina tells me when a pimp is present, girls are not allowed to walk on the sidewalk.
Girls belong in the street to make money, and pimps take the money.
To the casual observer, girls may seem like willing participants out here, but many of them are not, and there's always someone watching.
Watcher.
Pimps may follow their girls or keep an eye on them from cars. Hired watchers make the rounds on bicycles. From a business point of view, it all makes sense. The girls are the commodity. They can make a pimp hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by sleeping with as many as 20 or more men a night. Young girls can make them even more. Girls much younger than this can be found on the street if you know where to look, but Tina says they're often sold out of sight, inside hotels or private residences, arrangements made over the phone or the internet. These girls are all but imprisoned.
When I was in life, we saw a really young girl who I believe to be the ages between 9 and 10 tied up to a bedpost.
And you believe that she was tied up and forced to have sex with men?
It was men waiting to go in there.
A line of men waiting to have sex with a 9 or 10-year-old girl. And who makes all the money? The pimps. That's a pimp, right?
They're all pimps.
They are always looking for new recruits, especially young ones who can get a higher price. Then there are the Johns, the men responsible for driving the demand.
Hey, you want yogurt?
They are from every walk of life. Teachers, lawyers, pastors, police officers, and diplomats. men with baby seats in the backs of their cars.
The men are now swarming.
And tonight, the Johns are out in droves.
So you want to count how many times you see cars rolling circles? Those are going to be tricks, and they're just trying to see if you're working.
So all these cars have men just sitting in them.
They're watching, seeing if they like anything. It's like buying something pretty for them.
Girls disappear to service the Johns, only to reappear again moments later. As the Johns circle the streets over and over in search of their girl of choice, Tina and I start to draw attention from the pimps. To them, it looked like we were new to the game, possible new recruits.
Okay, you know it's a pimp right here in that car, right?
I was about to have my first conversation with a pimp out here on the street, on his turf.
Oh, here we go.
Pimps are predators who take advantage of vulnerable women and girls of all ages. Their methods are subtle and manipulative.
What's up? My daddy is nearby, so we hanging with him.
Your daddy, I'm trying to be your dad. I'm trying to and show you how to really do this, because obviously you got the game wrong. You're doing a lot of wrong things. And if you're gonna have a pimp and you're gonna be on the streets, you need with a that know what the to do out here. Because you're gonna get hurt or you're gonna get caught up by the police.
We're not from around here.
I know, baby, but you know, wherever you go on the track, anywhere in the world, there's rules and regulations to this. And a pimp gotta teach you that. And you're not taught properly. I can tell.
Look, our daddy's watching us, okay? So you can't talk to you that long, you know?
Okay.
We gotta go.
Hit my phone.
Tina and I were out tonight with Elizabeth, a trained volunteer who has done street outreach with Tina before. When we caught up with her, she too had company, a man who'd been trailing her in his truck all night long.
My name is Bella.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah?
Where y'all from?
I'm from the South.
From the South. You should be wanting to get to know a city guy, right?
It can be hard to tell the pimps from the Johns, but Tina could tell. This is what recruiting feels like.
See if we get the chance to get to know each other, maybe we could like rediscover America, you know?
Oh, really? Like a road trip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been to Atlantic City yet?
No, never been. No.
Bella, if you don't call me, I'd love to know you because you're a beautiful girl.
Thank you.
I know what I know, and I would love to know you.
Okay.
Though the cops were out in full force, the Johns and the pimps, like this one, didn't seem to care. Prostitution, pimping, and buying sex are all crimes. Because it's easier to see the girls in action, they tend to be the ones who get punished. Prosecuting pimps and Johns can require a girl's testimony, and many won't talk for fear of their pimps. All too often, the men just walk away. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and the action was dying down. We had seen many girls walking the streets, but no one from Tina's book, and none who were clearly underage. Then, on our way home, a girl crosses our headlights.
Turn your camera around. This girl looks very, very young. Oh, that's a little girl. She doesn't even know how to walk in heels.
Oh, she's like 12.
5 a.m. on Sunday morning. There she is in those glitter pants.
But she's also being watched. There's a dude in that truck across the street. There, that's a pimp. See? There you go.
A man who appears to be the girl's pimp is watching her from down the street.
Here's the truck right here next to her, yelling at her.
We hear the man curse when he notices our cameras. He pulls ahead and waits for the girl.
We can't do nothing until he leaves, and then I'll talk to him.
We had finally found one of the invisible ghosts, a girl who looked like a child. And right now, there's nothing we can do, not with her pimp watching. Too dangerous for us, and more importantly, for the girl.
I don't want her to get in trouble.
It looks like the man texts the girl, and she climbs into the truck. Tina reaches out to one of her contacts at the police department.
I'm texting him. What's the tag number?
He's like driving away fast.
And he just did a U-turn, but that's okay. Let's roll. Let's get it. You're gonna get it right now when he passes you. Right now. You have a description of him?
I didn't really see him. Tina's gotten in touch with her detective contact, and hopefully the detective will find them, but at this point, it's anyone's guess as to whether they will or not.
She was gone. And as night turned to day, the track, the game, the girls, the Johns and the pimps, all disappeared along with her. Our brief glimpse into this young girl's life on the street would continue to haunt me. 1 year later, we finally discover what happened to her. Stay tuned for her update.
She's one of the saddest girls I've ever encountered. Not to sound too dark, but I don't think things are gonna end well for her.
Every year, thousands of young girls go missing, running from broken families or abusive homes. With no place to go and nothing to eat, it's all too easy for a pimp to gain their trust. Many stay trapped forever. Only some, a very few, get the help they need to break free. Andrea Powell, like Tina, runs one of the few organizations that is devoted to the prevention of underage sex trafficking.
All right, so she's 13, okay. Are you able to put her on the phone? It's nice to talk to you. I hear you're having kind of a bad day.
Andrea founded Fair Girls 8 years ago after discovering that girls who've been trafficked by grown men have few places to go for help.
We're running low on small clothes.
We are putting together care packages that are designed to make a young lady who's been on the streets feel like somebody's reaching out and caring for her.
Andrea has been working long nights trying to track down a 16-year-old who has been missing for weeks.
She's beautiful. She's 16 right now.
She met the girl, who we'll call Daisy, a few years ago in a shelter.
Yeah, she definitely has that baby face.
Andrea suspects Daisy is being held against her will by a trafficker.
She could end up with an unwanted pregnancy. She could get beat. She could be raped multiple times. In the worst case scenario, she could end up dead.
This isn't the first time Daisy has run away from home, and the cops aren't responding quickly. So, like a detective, Andrea scours Daisy's social networking page, trying to find clues to where she might be now. She shows me 6 new tattoos Daisy has.
This adult man that has her does tattoos.
It looks like the photos were posted on Daisy's page by the man Andrea believes is trafficking her.
This is a very common tactic of traffickers, is to tattoo their names on the girl, to tattoo dollar signs, to tattoo kind of like an insignia of sorts.
To Andrea, it looks like Daisy's been branded, a young girl who could be on her way to becoming a commodity in an illicit billion-dollar business.
She likes pink, she likes cupcakes, she likes cartoons. She shouldn't be in a situation with a grown man in his house having people put tattoos on her body. That's just not where a teenage girl should be.
One place Daisy is definitely not is home. Her mother agreed to talk with me, but asked us to conceal her identity for Daisy's protection.
She's a beautiful baby.
A single mom, she was trying to manage work, college, and a teenage daughter.
Do you have any idea where she is or who she's with?
No, I have no idea. And that's the scary part. I have nightmares of somebody hurting her.
Many teens are rebellious, and Daisy was no exception.
She didn't want to listen. She asked, could she leave? I told her no. And walked around me and went out the door.
What is your biggest fear?
As a young person, you don't have a job. You're only 16 years of age. And somebody out there is going to say, hey, I can be your boyfriend. I'll take care of you. And next thing you know, that child finds herself on somebody's street corner or running from hotel to hotel, servicing grown men.
Do you think that the person she's with will let her leave?
No. I don't think he's gonna let her go. Once they get their hands on a girl, they're theirs for life. They don't let them go. Not out on 2 feet anyways.
It's not the life any mother envisions for her child, but pimps are out there, and young girls like Daisy are the most vulnerable. At a high school in DC, I'm about to see just how exposed these girls really are.
So do you think there are a lot of pimps here in DC?
Yes.
What have they said to you?
Like the basics,
Hey,
like,
beautiful.
yeah. Can I get your number? Can I know your name?
Andrea wants to give girls the tools to walk away from these encounters.
Do you think these guys are just trying to hit on you, or do you think they're trying to recruit you?
Recruit. Like, even after you try to ignore them or you say no, like, they still go at you. Or they even, like, follow you.
Can you see how some girls might like being called beautiful and all that?
Yeah, I used to have, like, a really low self-esteem, and, like, I'd never thought I was, like, pretty, and I would probably be, like, a prime target, like, when I was 13. You really don't know who to trust, and, you know, as a female, you're pretty vulnerable.
Another student told us she had first-hand experience with a trafficker who tried to recruit her.
He would tell me things like he'll buy me this or that, like he'll buy me expensive clothes, and he wanted me to call him daddy. Like, some girls know what they're getting themselves into, and some don't.
As I look around, I wonder how many more of these kids might know pimps, girls in the life, or might even be victims themselves.
So why do people do human trafficking?
Probably to make money.
What else?
To feel love from whoever's in charge of them.
Some girls do that for their families and stuff because they don't have the money to pay the rent and stuff.
Andrea uses art to put the kids at ease, to help them feel more comfortable talking about this dark world that for some exists all too close to home.
Anyone else need feathers, pom-poms?
She's in love.
She thinks she's in love.
Because he's already sweet-talking her.
He's been sweet-talking her?
Yeah.
The stories, the knowledge, all seem to come too easy.
I think they've seen some of this in their daily life, more than just on TV. This is pretty intense stuff, in particular, some of the violence that you see.
They even know the terminology.
We also get ones that are concerned about, what if you know a pimp and you don't think he's a bad person? This culture, this exploitation is part of their daily lives.
It was difficult to accept that many of these kids had so much experience with violence and exploitation, and it made me wonder about the girl Andrea was trying so hard to find. Could Daisy be out on the streets making hundreds of dollars a day for a man who controls her every move? For the first time ever, I was about to sit down with the kind of man who could be holding her captive, a pimp.
Mark.
Or as he claimed, an ex-pimp, someone we'd met when walking the track. He was about to fill me in on how he convinced girls to work for him, how perversely seductive the game could be.
How many women would you say have worked for you?
Oh my goodness. Whew. I'd say 50, at least.
And so how would it normally work? Would girls work 7 days a week?
Definitely, definitely.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of money. I mean, if you know you can go out and get anywhere between $300 and $1,500 a day, I mean, why wouldn't you go another day? I bought girls' cars, diamonds, furs, apartments, go shopping when you want, go anywhere you want, do anything you want. Young girls can get caught up in what I call the glitter dome. And the glitter dome is everything they see is like exciting and shiny. The pretty cars, the pretty clothes. That would be something to lure a girl in to wanting to work. A little quicker than the older girl.
So a young girl might be impressed with that stuff.
Oh yeah, impressed and excited about it because they haven't tasted it.
So the girls that we see most of the time, you think all of them are doing this voluntarily?
No.
How would you know if a girl is probably being forced to be out there? If there's a pimp watching?
The guy's not gonna be far away. He's gonna be real close.
Are there customers who specifically look for the young ones?
Oh, definitely. You got guys that's probably all they want is a young girl. So I know if there's one, there's gotta be 1,000. If there's 1,000, it's gotta be 1,000,000 that's just looking for young girls.
Who are the girls generally who get involved in the life?
I've had girls start at 18, 19, 30.
Have you ever had any younger?
If I did, I didn't know it.
Pimps have perfected the art of persuading a young girl what the street has to offer is worth the sacrifice. But few girls ever discover the exciting, shiny life, the glitter dome he describes. Instead, they find a nightmare. Like the girl Tina and I saw walking the streets.
Turn your camera around. This girl looks very, very young.
Oh, she's like 12.
Weeks after completing the original episode, we discovered that she was someone Andrea knew. To protect her identity, Andrea calls her Emily.
And about the age 12, she started to be exploited by a particularly violent, vicious pimp, someone you call a gorilla pimp, which basically means they kidnap their victims. They're very violent. She's one of the saddest girls I've ever encountered. She does not believe in herself. She does not envision a world outside of this life. She doesn't know how.
Now it's been months since anyone has heard from the girl.
And the last we heard, her trafficker had slashed her in the face and basically tormented her, and she left the hospital and nobody's seen her since. Not to sound too dark, but I don't think things are gonna end well for her. She can't just leave. If she tried to leave, she potentially could be killed for that. So it is a very bad situation for her, sadly.
Stories like this leave us wondering what our government is doing to stop this kind of activity. We first encountered Emily only a few blocks from the White House. Later in the show, we'll share President Obama's response to the horror of human trafficking.
It ought to concern every person. It is a debasement of our common humanity.
For a young girl trapped in the life, escaping from a watchful pimp can be impossible without help. It's been over 3 weeks since Daisy first went missing, and Andrea Powell is still on the case.
Through a confidential source, I found what I believe to be the address where Daisy is being held.
So are you feeling inclined to call law enforcement?
Yeah, I probably have to. The problem is, if she's picked up, she's gonna be locked up.
But in the strange arithmetic of the streets, being in jail could be better for Daisy than being out here.
The client that I've been talking to you about, I believe I have an address for, so give me a call back. It doesn't matter what hour, just give me a call back. Thanks, bye.
There's little Andrea can do without help from law enforcement, but she doesn't want to wait. Every minute Daisy is out on the streets is another minute filled with risk. She could be forced to have sex or possibly even killed.
These are really heavily pimp-controlled neighborhoods. It's depressing.
We drive to the neighborhood where Andrea thinks Daisy is being held, hoping against the odds that we'll find her walking the streets alone.
So could this be it?
I think this is what we're looking at, yeah. It looks pretty rough and tumble. And my instinct is to run in and bang on the door and scream her name and try to get her out, but I can't do that. As much as I care about her, I really have to put this in the hands of law enforcement. I'm just incredibly frustrated right now.
Until the police act on Andrea's information, another young girl stays missing. What would it take to coax a girl off the streets, to compete with the persuasive power of her pimp? Tina Front wants to give young girls the one thing a pimp can't: a safe home.
Well, come on in.
When Tina broke free from the life, she had a family to go back to. But some girls aren't so lucky.
Isn't this great?
Yeah.
A study showed that close to 90% of women working the streets would leave if only they had somewhere to go. 9 out of 10. Over the past 2 years, Tina has been building that place. There's just one problem. she doesn't have the money to open it.
Are there a lot of places like this for trafficked girls?
We're actually the first in the Washington, D.C. area.
And you'll have how many beds here?
6 beds.
There are fewer than 10 safe houses like this in the entire country, way out of proportion to the actual need.
By law, we have to hire 5 staff. So it's not that we don't have the survivors to actually place here. We need $350,000 to open the doors. I don't care how many breakdowns I had of overexhaustion. We gotta get this house up and running.
What would little Tina, how would she have felt if she walked into this room for the first time?
I would have felt like, you know, it's a home, it's a safe place. We don't have to worry about being raped every night.
And now you're gonna give that to girls.
Definitely, yep. And they know that somebody cares about them no matter what, even when they don't care about themselves.
I've never been there before.
2 years ago, Ashley's future seemed hopeless, but she's finally living the happy family life she has always craved.
I still need to find a way to print this.
With homeschooling, Ashley has caught up with her studies, and today she's graduating with a high school diploma.
I gotta go put my clothes on. Okay.
You need to stop. Take a breath.
I'm breathing.
Relax.
I'm relaxed. All right, come on, y'all.
Our next graduate is an overcomer and a most enthusiastic learner. So, Ashley.
I thank my mom, I thank my dad, and I thank Courtney House. Everything I have been through has led me to this day. It made me very strong.
Now that you're graduated, your tassel to the right.
Where once Ashley was a ghost, seen only by the men who wanted to buy her for sex, now she belongs back in our world.
I'm so proud of you. You know you made me cry. I'm so proud of you.
She's going to college. She's going to study social work. She's going to help other girls. She's going to be like Tina.
I'm blowing this up. Poster size.
I want to be like her in the future. I just want the spirit and the joy that she has, and just helping other people, being that light.
Having another Tina or Andrea in the world to find and rescue girls is a good place to start.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Mom.
But the need is still vast.
So proud.
There are thousands of young girls like Ashley still out on the streets, and Ashley doesn't want anyone to forget about them.
I can't just shut up. I can't just not talk. I can't just let it go.
There are a lot of really young girls in the life right now, and if they get a chance to watch this, what would you say to them?
That they can make it. That you have to walk away. Don't let men tell you everything. If they tell you pretty, say it to yourself at night. Say it to yourself, be your own power.
Oh my God, Ashley, oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It's half tears of sadness that you went through that, but it's like half tears of joy because I'm so proud of you. I'm just like so in awe of you.
1 year after the original episode of 3 a.m. Girls, we caught up again with Ashley to see how life had changed. When Ashley first made the difficult decision to appear in the show, she worried the world would condemn her. But since our first broadcast, Ashley has gotten nothing but support.
It's actually been better because I don't have to explain my story to them because they can just watch the show. I have people walk up to me saying, "Oh, you're amazing," and I honor you, and things like that. I never got a bad comment.
Today, Ashley celebrates her 20th birthday. Among the guests, her new boyfriend, Chris.
I always thought that Chris was so good for me. I didn't think I deserved someone like him.
When Chris, then just a friend, saw Ashley on 3 a.m. Girls, it was the first time he learned about her past. Not only did he not reject her, he was moved by her courage. They began dating, and now the two are in love.
I always thought that when I told somebody everything, but they wouldn't want their friends and family to know everything about me. But he don't feel like that. He like, if you want to talk about it, talk about it. I'm going to support you. And to have somebody that truly accept you, flaws and all, it's like, really, like, God, thank you, you know?
With support from her friends and family, Ashley is now in college, studying psychology. She wants to do social work and help victims of human trafficking, something she's already doing today. Ashley has become a role model and an inspiration to other girls newly out of the life, girls like 21-year-old Karita.
This is what I had on yesterday.
Oh, that's nice. Wow.
Yep.
That's cute. Yeah, I was happy because she got out the life and she's not in it no more. I actually go through the same stuff I went through.
Along with her sisters, Karita was raped and sexually exploited by her own father from the age of 4 up until high school. He went to jail for years as a result, but Karita was left with scars and a torn family. Vulnerable, she went on to a life of being taken advantage of by pimps. It's only been a few months since she's gotten out of the life.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
I just want to tell you can make it and you can tell your story. For a long period of time, I thought my boyfriend I have now, that he didn't love me or he didn't care for me because he didn't beat me. Right now, you just getting out the life, so you're gonna probably still feel like, hey, he loved me, but you gotta start doing for yourself. I just don't want you to go back to the life, and I just want you to keep your story and do whatever you want to do with your story because you are powerful. And that's it. She says she's not gonna go back. I'm gonna try to encourage her not to go back, but it's no guarantee. Especially this early, it's no guarantee.
Weeks after we finished filming our original episode, Daisy was still missing. Police finally followed up on a lead, an address, and it led to the house where Daisy was being kept.
It looks like sort of, a downtrodden neighborhood, but what probably all the neighbors didn't realize is there was a girl inside who was desperately in need of getting out. She was found in the home of a much older man. There were a lot of known exploiters who were in the house. And what really bothers me is that he's still out there.
While Daisy's pimp was never arrested, she spent 3 months in juvenile detention.
It feels like jail because they can't leave. Sometimes they're shackled, sometimes they have handcuffs.
Andrea raised enough money to send Daisy to a therapeutic group home for 9 months.
She looks strong. I'm really proud of her. It was a huge effort by so many people and just believing in her, but that's what it's gonna take. Every girl who's been exploited and been abused needs that deep level investment.
Today, thanks to Andrea, Daisy is in college, rebuilding her life. Many of her new friends don't know about her past, and at this time, Daisy prefers to stay off camera.
Daisy's one of the lucky ones because she got out of the detention facility and immediately went to care, but many of the girls we work with end up back on the streets, back in the bad situations that they started in.
Since our episode first aired a year ago, sex trafficking has gotten a lot of attention in the media and in the White House. President Obama recently spoke out about the issue, the first American president to officially address the problem.
It is a debasement of our common humanity. I'm talking about the injustice, the outrage of human trafficking, which must be called by its true name, modern slavery.
But even with the president's address, resources for advocates like Tina and Andrea are harder than ever to come by. In 2011, Congress allowed the Trafficking Victims Protection Act to expire.
Congress allowed protective legislation to expire in 2011 following years of bipartisan support. But as we know, bipartisan is a dirty word in Washington these days, even when children's lives are at risk.
The policy provides resources to survivors and advocates, along with a framework for prosecuting traffickers. But until it's reauthorized, millions of dollars of funding are at risk that could be helping these girls.
We have triple the number of girls in our program as we did this time a year ago. Funding hasn't increased at all, and without those resources, it means that we have girls who have nowhere to go at night.
The shelter for trafficking victims created by Tina never received enough support to open its doors, and Andrea's organization, Fair Girls, is desperately underfunded.
So these are over 2,000 individual appeal letters that we're sending out to supporters. I know it's a lot to ask and it's expensive, but these are girls who've been severely exploited and abused. They've been victims of slavery, so you can't just open the door and say, okay, good luck. We have to do more than that and dig deeper.